So welcome again. After this introduction of Living Lab 2 in The Hague, we're going to dive a bit deeper into the implementation part of the different pilots. And this slide you have already seen. It was about the different MVPs that we are creating. And in this part of the presentation, I will be zooming in a bit on the first two MVPs. So first the crowdshipping and later the pickup and delivery locker networks. So to start with crowdshipping. Crowdshipping is a really interesting concept in which normal people like you and me and commuters are taking parcels with them on their journeys to deliver them to their delivery points. And the logic behind it is quite simple. If those people are traveling anyway, why don't they take the parcels with them instead of new vans that are going to drive to deliver those parcels? The concept also already has quite some success, not in the Netherlands, but in other countries, as I mentioned earlier, for example, Sweden and Norway. And some research says that that is also because the nature of those countries, the wide landscapes, there are not many people living there and the countries are really big, so some parcels really need to travel a long way before they get delivered. In the Netherlands, on the other hand, we have the opposite. So we are a really small country, many people living here, so that results in a high density. And that also results for the logistic service providers in really low cost price per parcel. So it's quite cheap for them to deliver parcels in the Netherlands for the DHLs and the DPDs in this world. So that could be a challenge to implement crowdshipping in the Netherlands. Also, the wages in the Netherlands are quite high, and that could result in a wish for high remuneration. But we need to test it to be sure. So that is what we are going to do. And therefore, we imply a two-phase pilot. First, we're going to focus on the bringers, and we do that through a survey to test their propensity to be a crowd shipper. So when are they willing to deliver a parcel, for what remunerations, what travel times, etc., etc. If we have the first results of the survey, we're going to phase 2. And that is to see if we can activate those bringers that participated in the survey. So they told us they were going to be active at a certain remuneration, but we need to test it in a controlled pilot. And a controlled pilot, I will explain later what that means. And if that is all successful, we hope that in the future we can connect the bringers, the crowd shippers, to real parcel volume that is suitable for these crowd shippers. So actually we are almost at the end of phase 1. So to give a status update for this pilot, we have 150 answers to the survey thus far. So we're quietly going to phase 2 in a couple of weeks. But to share some insights of the survey, so there are people that could be willing to be a crowd shipper. So that is a good first insight. For those people, a parcel locker is a real asset, a real positive plus, because it gives them the flexibility to pick up or deliver a parcel whenever they want. So that is one. Now, also, we found out that people with lower income are more likely to become a crowd shipper. It could be quite logical. Furthermore, crowd shipping after an activity is preferred, so people won't like to go somewhere and take a parcel with them, but on the way back they are willing to take a parcel with them. So that is good insight as well. And furthermore, it is positively tested that indeed in the Netherlands we want a higher remuneration, more or less €1 per minute, which implies €10 for a parcel with a detour of 6 km. But that also gives some potential for local volume, but I'll get back to that later. So now we have some research questions and goals for the next phase. So does this stated willingness to pick up a parcel translate in the real world in a pilot that they are actually going to pick it up? So they can say it, but are they also going to do it? That's important. And we're going to test it to send some parcels through the Nimber app in a controlled setting to test the results we obtained in the survey. And to explain the controlled setting a bit better, so we are going to be the senders of the parcels ourselves. Actually, we're going to probably send out some mangoes during 2 weeks in the city of The Hague to see if the people that reacted to the survey are also willing to actually deliver a mango. And we're doing that in 2 ways. So it's for commuters that are going to do a detour on their commute, either on the way there or on the way back, as I just explained. But maybe there's also people that are willing to come off the couch to go and deliver a mango. And to do this, we are partnering with Nimber, as I already explained, and they have a very nice crowdshipping platform on which supply and demand meet, so people can put their parcels up there if you want to send it somewhere, and crowdshippers can react by saying that for this remuneration, I will bring your parcel to the delivery point. It's some sort of Uber for parcel deliveries, and it's already implemented for the Dutch situation, which is nice. So then the second pilot path. So that was about integrating different logistic service providers to increase efficiency, and we want to do it around lockers. So right now the situation in The Hague is quite jammed, as you see here, and we want to work towards a hyper-connected city. So we are going to build a first connection between 2 logistic service providers, being MyPub and Cycloon, and we're going to do that around a strategically placed locker. And we have found some beautiful locations for these strategically placed lockers, being the city farms in The Hague. So although The Hague is really densely populated, there are 10 city farms, as you see on the picture, with a lot of grass around it, with some animals there for children to see and play. And the city farms have really an educational purpose in the city. And we are going to start with 2 city farms to place a locker there for public use. So people that are living around the city farm can use the locker as the destination point for their parcel deliveries. So, and what the solution looks like. MyPub works as follows. All different parcels from the different couriers that are delivering in that neighborhood are going to one consolidation point. They are consolidated in a hub from which Cycloon brings all those parcels at once to the city farm and put them in the lockers. Then the people living in the neighborhood can pick their parcels up from the locker whenever they want, preferably the same day. So this pilot still needs to start, but all plans and implementation plans are in place. So we have at the right, we have a intention agreement of all the different partners. We already made the API connection between MyPub and Cycloon. We are right now building the environment to make a nice place for the locker, maybe also with some educational purposes for kids. And right now we are conducting the marketing plan and see if we can also make a future design on how we can scale this solution. And to say a bit more about that, so in the future we hope that the crowdshipping and the logistic integration through lockers can also integrate together towards the hyper-connected city. It looks like this. So we have, for example, MyPub or consumer senders that send parcels to the city farms locker, and there the recipient can get his parcel or her parcel, but also it's possible to cross-dock in these lockers. So a crowdshipper takes it from the city farm locker and brings it to a recipient that lives further away. So still enough to be tested in the future. So that was it for the implementation presentation. And once again, if you liked the ideas or you have questions or ideas yourself, do not hesitate to contact us, because to come to an hyper-connected city, we need to make as much connections that we can. And in the next part, Rodrigo of the TU Delft will dive deeper in the digital twin side of the pilot. Thank you for your attention.